You're 72 years old, sitting on your porch, sipping coffee, and you haven't checked your bank account in weeks. Not because you're broke, but because you genuinely don't worry about money anymore. While millions of seniors lose sleep over bills, a small group has cracked the code. Today, I'm taking you inside their minds to reveal the 3 secrets they all share. And I promise, it's not what you think. Across Europe and beyond, there's a growing divide among retirees. On one side, you have seniors checking their bank accounts multiple times a day, losing sleep over every unexpected expense, constantly calculating whether their pension will last another month. On the other side, there's a smaller group who live with remarkable financial peace. They're not wealthier. They don't have massive pensions. Many live on modest state pensions or social security equivalent to 1,500 to 2,000 euros monthly. Yet somehow, they've achieved something priceless: complete freedom from money anxiety. I've spent months studying this phenomenon, interviewing dozens of seniors who've made this transition from worry to peace. What I discovered wasn't about budgeting apps or investment strategies. It was about a fundamental rewiring of how they think about money itself. These seniors operate from a completely different mental framework, and once you understand it, retirement transforms from something you fear into something you genuinely look forward to. Secret number 1. The reverse budget method. Most people budget backwards. They list all their expenses, add them up, and hope their income covers everything. When it doesn't, panic sets in. Worry-free seniors do the exact opposite. They start with peace of mind and work backwards from there. Here's how it works. Instead of asking, "Can I afford my current lifestyle?" they ask, "What lifestyle guarantees I'll never worry about money?" Then they build their life around that number. It sounds simple, but the psychological shift is profound. Meet Tom. He's 74, lives in a quiet town outside Manchester, and draws a pension of £1,800 monthly. 6 years ago, at 68, Tom was drowning in anxiety despite having £2,300 coming in each month. He had a nice flat, ate at restaurants twice a week, owned a car he barely used, and maintained subscriptions to services he'd forgotten about. Every month felt tight. Every unexpected bill triggered stress. Then Tom tried something radical. He asked himself one question: what's the absolute maximum I could spend monthly and still sleep perfectly at night? His answer surprised him. £1,400. Not because that's all he had, but because at £1,400 in fixed costs, he'd have £400 of buffer every single month. That buffer represented freedom from worry. Tom restructured everything around that number. He moved to a smaller flat that cut his housing cost by £300. He cancelled the car and started using senior transit passes. He cut subscriptions ruthlessly. Within 3 months, his fixed expenses dropped to £1,300. Suddenly, he had £500 monthly of pure psychological comfort. He didn't feel deprived. He felt liberated. The reverse budget method works because it prioritizes your mental health over your lifestyle. Most retirees sacrifice peace of mind to maintain a lifestyle they don't even enjoy that much. Worry-free seniors flip it. They sacrifice minor conveniences to gain something far more valuable: the ability to sleep at night. Secret number 2. The 3-bucket system. The second secret involves a psychological trick that eliminates financial stress almost instantly. Worry-free seniors don't see their money as one big pile. They mentally separate it into 3 distinct buckets, and each bucket has a completely different purpose and emotional weight. Bucket 1 is survival. This covers absolute essentials: housing, food, utilities, healthcare. These are non-negotiable expenses that must be paid no matter what. Bucket 2 is comfort. This includes things that make life enjoyable but aren't critical: occasional meals out, hobbies, small luxuries, gifts for grandchildren. Bucket 3 is emergency buffer. This is money set aside for the unexpected: home repairs, medical bills, or any crisis that might emerge. Sandra is 70 and lives in Amsterdam. Her monthly state pension is €1,900. For years, she treated all her money the same, which meant every expense felt equally stressful. Should she buy groceries or save for emergencies? Could she afford coffee with a friend, or should that money go toward next month's bills? Everything blurred together into one anxious calculation. Then Sandra started using 3 separate bank accounts to physically represent her buckets. Bucket 1 gets €1,100 monthly and covers her subsidized apartment, utilities, basic groceries, and health insurance. The moment that money hits her account, it's mentally spent. She never worries about it because it's locked in for survival. Bucket 2 gets €500 for comfort spending. This is guilt-free money. Sandra uses it for her book club, occasional bakery treats, birthday gifts, and her weekly tram rides to visit friends. Because it's separated from survival money, she spends it without anxiety. It exists purely for quality of life. Bucket 3 gets €300 that goes directly into her emergency account. She never touches it unless something truly unexpected happens. Over 3 years, Sandra has built up nearly €11,000 in this bucket. That cushion eliminates the background fear that one bad month could destroy everything. The 3-bucket system works because it removes the emotional weight from daily decisions. When money is all mixed together, every purchase feels like it might threaten your survival. When it's separated, you know exactly what each euro is for, and that clarity creates peace. Secret number 3, the enough is enough mindset. The third secret is perhaps the most powerful and the hardest to grasp. Worry-free seniors have completely redefined what wealth means after 6 years. They've stopped chasing more and started appreciating enough. This isn't about lowering standards or accepting deprivation. It's about recognizing that beyond a certain point, more money doesn't create more happiness. It just creates more worry about losing it. Carlos is 76 and lives in a small village in Portugal. For most of his working life, he earned well and spent accordingly. When he retired at 65, he had a pension of €4,000 monthly. He lived in a large house, drove a new car every few years, and maintained the lifestyle he thought successful retirement required. But Carlos was miserable. He constantly worried about maintaining the house, about whether his pension would keep up with inflation, about whether he'd have enough if he lived into his 90s. At 70, something shifted. Carlos asked himself a brutal question. What am I actually getting from all this money? The big house meant more cleaning, more repairs, more property tax. The nice car meant insurance and maintenance costs that added stress, not joy. He was spending €4,000 monthly, but feeling poorer than when he earned half that amount. Carlos made a radical decision. He sold the house and moved into a small apartment in a senior community. He sold the car and started walking or using the community shuttle. He cut his monthly expenses to €1,800. His income stayed the same, but now he banks over €2,000 every month. Within 3 years, he'd built a cushion so substantial that money anxiety disappeared completely. Here's what Carlos told me. I used to think I needed €4,000 to be happy. Now I live on less than half that, and I'm happier than I've been in 20 years. The difference isn't the money, it's knowing I have enough. Once you truly believe you have enough, everything changes. The enough is enough mindset requires letting go of comparison. Worry-free seniors stop measuring themselves against others. They don't care if their neighbors have bigger homes or take exotic vacations. They've defined their own version of enough, and once they reach it, the race is over. That mental finish line creates profound peace. The psychological shift timeline. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. Based on my research, most seniors who achieve this mindset go through predictable stages. The first 3 months are the hardest. You're adjusting to new spending patterns, questioning whether you've made the right choices, and fighting the urge to return to old habits. During this phase, doubt is normal. Months 4 through 6 bring the first real evidence. You start noticing your bank balance isn't dropping. Small emergencies don't trigger panic. You begin sleeping better. This is when the psychological benefits become undeniable, and your commitment strengthens. By months 7 through 12, the new mindset becomes automatic. You no longer think about money constantly because you've built systems that work. The 3 buckets are routine. Your reverse budget feels natural. Your definition of enough is solid. This is when worry-free living becomes your default state. What all worry-free seniors have in common. After interviewing dozens of financially peaceful retirees, I found consistent patterns. First, they all plan ahead. They didn't stumble into subsidized housing or low-cost living. They researched options years before retiring and positioned themselves strategically. Second, they embrace simplicity. None of them have complicated financial lives. No complex investments, no multiple properties, no business ventures. Simple income, simple expenses, simple life. Third, they prioritize relationships over possessions. Every worry-free senior I spoke with had strong social connections. They'd rather spend €20 on coffee with friends than €200 on something they'd own alone. Fourth, they're brutally honest with themselves. They don't pretend they need things they don't. They don't maintain appearances. They've stripped away the ego and focused purely on what actually makes them happy. You don't need to wait until you're 72 to adopt this mindset. Start now with 3 specific actions. First, calculate your peace of mind number. What monthly expense level would let you sleep perfectly at night? Be honest, then work backwards to build a life around that number. Second, open 3 separate accounts today and start separating your money into survival, comfort, and emergency buckets. Even if you can't fully fund them yet, the mental separation begins the transformation. Third, write down your personal definition of enough. What does enough look like for housing, transportation, food, entertainment, and healthcare? Get specific. Once you define enough, you'll stop chasing more. These 3 actions plant the seeds of financial peace. The more consistently you practice them, the faster your mindset shifts from anxiety to confidence. If today's video helped you rethink retirement, make sure you're subscribed. This is the beginning of your journey to worry-free retirement, and I'll be here every step of the way.